Hey chatters, it's Joe from Synaptic Labs. Excited to have you here. If it's your first time, I'm Joe, the CEO, and we're in the middle of a series focused on helping you decide what is the best automation platform for you or your business. In this video, we're going to be going over Make.com to show you the pricing as well as how you actually build automations in here so you can compare against the other major providers that we've gone over in this series. Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about pricing. It's actually pretty affordable, maybe one of the more affordable ones of the ones we're going to go over. It's just $9 a month really to get started. I mean, you can do the free one as well and get access to a lot to mess around. And $16 a month if you want to go to the next level. The problem with a lot of these, right, is we have this credit system similar to Zapier, where each action is going to cost you a certain number of credits. The vast majority of actions are just going to cost you 1 credit, but certain things like AI steps might cost you more than that. You can see here, if we bring it up, suddenly we're doubling almost every time we go up. And I will say that this is the annual plan. So if we go to monthly, all of that goes up, somewhat significantly as well. So just something to think about. Is definitely better than Zapier and less expensive. You can do a lot more, but the downside, as we're going to see, it is definitely a harder learning curve to use Make.com as compared to Zapier. So let's head over to our automation and I'll walk you through how we build things in here. First up, when you log in, you're going to see a dashboard similar to this. You're going to get your usage, your credits, some data on whatever you've been doing, some resources, some onboarding, all this kind of fun stuff, as well as the settings like your subscription, payments, all that kind of stuff. Lots of other things you can choose from here. We're not going to get down and dirty with all the stuff you can do, but suffice to say, you have a lot of options. You may already be overwhelmed with all that you can do. To create an automation, they call them scenarios in Make.com. You would just come up to this create scenario and you'll get a blank canvas. I'm not going to do that right now because I want to pull you over to the automation that we've created across all the series so you can see what that looks like and I can walk you through how I built it. So as a reminder, the automation that we are building to help us out and to be consistent across all the platforms is that we have some sort of feedback form that people fill out. And then what we do is every once in a while, we set off some sort of scheduling where it's going to look at all of that feedback, analyze it with AI, and then spit back a nice little report for us. First thing we got to do is we have our schedule node. So this is just going to, pop off at Mondays at 11:12 for now. You can set that to whatever you want. And then we're going to grab the Google Sheets node. You're going to have to connect. You'll see, just like the other platforms, it's pretty easy to just log into your Google account or whatever. And we're going to fill out the form just like we would with any other sort of automation platform. For the search method, we can do search by path. Essentially, we want to point it towards our specific spreadsheet. And that's what we're going to do. We have the My Drive, test event feedback responses, the sheet name, our range. Right now we have, I think you can do a max of like 1,500. So again, this might be an issue in production where you need more than that many rows to analyze, but it's fine for now. The table has headers, meaning that if we come here, right, we have our headers for the table. And then we're just defining what row has the headers. Okay, next up, we need to add what's called an aggregator node. So let's find that. Array aggregator. And the idea behind this is, again, we just want to take all the data from the spreadsheet and plug it into our AI to generate its response. So let's see, we have our get range values, target structure. I'm just going to select all because we wanted to take all the fields and toss it all together. So we'll save that. And then we need our AI node. So I'm going to use something called OpenRouter. It's my favorite thing to use. We're going to do create chat completion. You can see I've already connected. They make it pretty easy similarly to connect if you already have an account with OpenRouter. Again, OpenRouter is great because you can use any model you want. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up just Google Gemini Flash Preview. Again, we're using this for all of them for consistency, but it's cheap. It has a large context window. It's pretty good. And then we got to do our messages. So the way this breaks down in here is that you're going to have a role and content. Similar to the other platforms, it just looks a little different. So first we want our system. This is our system prompt. And then we're going to want to make one for our user. Okay, the system prompt, we need to add the text in here. I'm going to go grab our system prompt that we've been using and stick it in here. But pretty much this is telling it exactly how I wanted to analyze things, what I wanted to do in the format that I wanted to output. So let me go grab that and stick it in here. Okay, so we have our prompt in here. Now for the content, we want to actually pull the data from the previous step, the array. So we're just going to click and drag this in here so that when it gets the array, which is the list of all the data, it's going to stuff it right in here as our user prompt. And then we should be all set with that. And then our last node is going to be our Gmail node to email us. So let's look up Gmail, send an email. You can see it's already connected to my email address. We're going to send it to ourselves. So I'm just going to put my email in here. And then subject, we can say something like feedback, report. And then you can see we have this menu of things that we can pull from. These are the previous steps that we're going to need to grab in a second. But they have other options. You can have it filled by AI. We can have some sort of general functions, some math functions, binary functions, but we want the date, which is let's just grab the timestamp and we'll stick that in here so that we know what day it was run for. And then for the body, since we're doing this in what's called HTML, because we want it to look nice, that's what we did in the prompt. So we'll output it in code essentially. So it makes sort of like a little mini website report. We'll stick that to raw HTML. Most of you, when you're doing things, it's just going to be raw text, but in this case, we want that. And then for the content, we just want to grab whatever the AI is outputting. So this is a little confusing. We're going to have to dive down into what it's actually outputting. So we're going to come down to the message and we're going to come down to content. And this should output the text from the AI. Okay, let's save. Make sure to save because apparently this doesn't auto-save and I had to redo this for you all. And then we're going to hit this run once and we're going to see what happens. So you can see it pulled from the Google Sheet. It put everything together. Now it's running through the AI to create our little report. So we'll give that a second and then it should email us. Okay, let's check out if it actually worked. I'm going to head over to my email and let's see what we got. Hey, here's our feedback report. It looks pretty similar to our other ones, right? Which makes sense. We're using the same prompt and model and data. So training feedback report, we have our date, the total number of responses, our summary, some overall metrics, the performance analysis, key themes, notable participants and quotes. This is the first report, so we don't have any trend analysis, but the idea would be you would want to filter in previous reports, right? So that you could compare to previous data, and then our recommendations and a little appendix for us. So there you go. It worked. It's pretty much the same as the other ones. We only have 4 nodes here. Again, if this was in production, it would be a little bit more complex, but fairly straightforward. The things I'll mention though is just these little forms you fill out could be a little bit more confusing and difficult, especially bringing in the dynamic variables, right? Which we showed, like bringing in, like, what do I choose for the array, right? So you can run it to see the data like you can for the other ones as it's coming in, but it can be a little bit confusing. And just generally, there are like so many options here that it can be a little bit overwhelming if it's your first time using an automation platform. If it's not and you're technically savvy and you want full freedom, this is probably for you. But if you are just a beginner, you're just getting started, I would be scared that this is a little bit too advanced and give you too much to mess around with for you to get started. So just keep that in mind. That's it for our video on make.com. I hope it was helpful. Definitely, again, go through our other videos to determine what is the best automation platform for you, balancing this sort of cost to complexity ratio. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.